I'm Francesca D'Amore, and let's queer up trans rights. Supreme Court declines review of schools' handling of student gender identity request. The justices rejected an appeal from Massachusetts parents who argued that their child's middle school secretly facilitated a social gender transition without their consent. This decision to not hear the case leaves in place lower court rulings that sided with the school district. The case centers on a 2021 incident at Baird Middle School in Ludlow, where a student, identified in court filings as BF, told school staff they identified as genderqueer and requested a new name and pronouns. According to court records, the student asked staff to continue using their legal name and assigned pronouns when communicating with their parents, as they had not yet shared the information at home. A school counselor instructed staff to follow the student's wishes. However, the parents sued, claiming the school violated their rights under the Constitution's Due Process Clause, which courts have interpreted to include parental authority over a child's upbringing. A federal judge dismissed the case, and the First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld that decision, ruling the school's actions did not infringe on parental rights. The appeals court said public schools are not required to tailor educational environments to parental preferences, and that's the school's approach, and the school's approach fell within its discretion. This is a very interesting story and a very interesting topic for me, especially in light of the way laws have been changing now, with parental rights acts, kind of packaged to be more for the student, but not really. From a trans person's perspective, you don't know what that child is going through at home. So what if they're in an unsafe environment, So I wish there was a way to have a meeting of the minds where there could be checks and balances, where parents would be included at a certain part of the checks and balances. Because I do believe that parents should be involved with what their child's going through. But there's a safety issue.
There is a safety issue. And, I think we did a story last week here about a state that passed a law. It was one of those backward-ass redneck states like Oklahoma or Texas or something like that, where parents must be notified within 72 hours of a school or teachers finding out that a child is trans or identifying as trans. So I think what this says is that schools, that the court will say states don't have to inform parents, but we're absolutely okay if they do want to inform parents. It is a dichotomy. The fact that our healthcare, the fact that our rights come and go with every election, that our rights come and go with every time we cross a state line is so effed up. So yes, I see what you're saying, and I agree with your point, and certainly you have the best perspective to talk about this. But from a principled standpoint, our kids are so screwed up. This is the government stepping onto the playground and bullying gay kids, trans kids, lesbians, all that. It's disgusting.
Well, I think it was the school counselor that made the decision. So the school counselor, I'm assuming, might have spoken with the student and determined that it is not necessary to contact the parent. So there might have been that conversation already that took place, which is, maybe why the counselor decided to go that route. I've been a teacher for 25 years, and my position on it is it's not my business. So if I've had many students that that ask to be called by a name that is not their name. And I know that the kid is going through some kind of thing, because it's not like Jenny for Jennifer. Okay. It's like, Ghost, or it is some other kind of non-binary-ish name that they feel comfortable. So if a student asks me, hey, would you mind calling me, Ghost in class or something? I'm fine with doing that. It is not my place as a teacher to ask them, are you transgendered? Are you this? Or to ask them questions, because one, they may not want their teacher asking them questions about their sexuality, right? So it's not for me to interrogate a student about that, nor report it, because I can't report something that I don't know. It's only if I see that there is some kind of behavior that's kind of destructive or that is disrupting the class do I go there. So if any counselor or any official comes to me and says, why did you do this? Why I don't know if the kid is gay. I don't know if the kid is. It's not my place to know. And I think if they do cross that line to confide in you and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, I would refer them to the school counselor. And then the counselor makes these decisions. It's not really for the teacher,
Right.
in my opinion.
Well, there's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.